I'm the Executive Director of CASA of the Chiha region. Though you see many host agencies here tonight, elected officials, community leaders, law enforcement agencies, and special guests with us, the essential work is not a representation of any one person or one organization's critical work, but a reminder that together is the best way to ensure children have childhoods that don't hurt them. No matter your role in the system that is broken solely due to the need for its existence, may we all be inspired tonight by a message that is sure to instill the importance of hope in a solemn time that is of no celebration tonight. It's been 1 year since we've been here together to acknowledge the children of Calhoun County who are, who have been, and who will be victims of child abuse right under our noses. It's been a hard year to be a child with over 300 children in the care of Calhoun County DHR. Agencies on the front lines and hosts of tonight's vigil are Evelyn Moon Children's Services, Calhoun Cleburne Children's Advocacy Center, Chiha CASA, Family Services Center, and the Calhoun County Department of Human Resources. John Blanton is our speaker tonight, and I have to warn you that what he has to say deserves more time than what we have tonight. And if our flames extinguish on their own before the vigil's conclusion, due to John sharing as long as we need to listen, please know that all of this work is to be continued. Before John brings his message, I want to introduce you to the vigil sponsors, and they are also year-round supporters of anything our children need that most will never know about. Calhoun County has a tremendous team built under the leadership of those to my left, and it's important for us to leave here tonight knowing that our work is to be continued. I want to thank our judges who are sponsors tonight and those joining us in the lighting of our flames. Presiding Family Court Judge Peggy Locker, District Judge Tom Wright, Circuit Judge Jennifer Weems, and Probate Judge-elect Shirley Millwood. Courtney Clark is also with us tonight as the Director of the Calhoun County Department of Resources, and she will now light our judges' candles before they move into the crowd to light yours, symbolizing the importance of sharing the burden of child abuse with those of us who are on the front lines of prevention. Everybody here tonight.
As they do that, I want to begin to talk and to share with you just a story. But before I share, know that tonight is a great honor for me to come up and to see so many people who are advocates, who stand in the gap. And I'll share a little bit more about that here in just a second. But I want you to do an exercise with me. This is something that DHR and ABCH does as far as their adoption and foster care training. But I want you to imagine with me your top 5 things, the top 5 things that you absolutely love in this world right now, whatever it can be. And so if you have those top 5 things in your head, I want you to do this with it. I want you to imagine that whatever that 5th thing is, whether it's your car, your house, your dogs, your whatever, I want you to kind of throw that away. I want that to vanish from your mind. Now, the 4th thing, whatever that is, maybe it's your school. Maybe it is the family that you are so close to. Maybe it is friends. I want you to throw that 4th thing away. Now to the 3rd thing. 3rd thing can be something that you value even more. The place that you reside, your church, your surroundings, everything you're familiar with. In that way, you can throw it away. Now we're down to your 2nd thing. 2nd thing could be your kids. It could be your spouse. It could be anything along those lines. I want you to take it. I want you to throw it away. I want that to vanish And now I want you to think about that one thing that you feel like you can absolutely not do without. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's your everyday life. I want you to take that and I want you to throw it away. I want you to banish it from your mind. And what you end up with is nothing. What you end up with is everything that you loved and everything that you held dear and everything that you know is gone from your life. When we were doing this exercise, it hit me. Because that's exactly what happens to children who leave in any environment, whether it's safe or unsafe. That is what happens to most every child that you may come in contact with here in this organization. That's what happened to me when I was 4 years old. I was taken from a home, or not really a home, a vehicle that we lived in, where I was abused by several men. I was molested. And that was the only form of love that I knew. Where everything disappears from your life in that moment, there's hope that comes that you have no idea that you have. And this is where that hope came from. DHR coming and removing me from a situation that was not safe. Removing me from a situation where I was faced with drugs being shoved down my throat for fun. With constant molestation from men that my biological mother would bring in. Abuse, neglect. Those are the things that came with leaving all of that behind. And I'll never forget sitting on the desk at DHR and trying to find a place for me to go and stay. And they finally, I didn't have any clothes, I didn't have anything, I just had whatever was on what I was wearing that day. And the DHR lady came up and said, "Hey, John, we have found you a place to stay." And I'll never forget driving up to this beautiful house out in Chakalaka. And to me, it was the biggest house I've ever seen in my life. And it was just insane taking all of this in. So we came to the door and knocked on the door, and a lady answered, and she had the most loving and caring voice that I'd ever heard. And she just loved me and took care of me instantly. It was I don't even remember the DHR talking to this lady. It was just instant. There was just instant. Come in, be welcome, come here. Like let's enjoy freedom for a second, right? And I remember taking a shower probably for the first time in weeks, and the only clothes that they had for me at the time was a shirt, her husband's shirt, and I remember it said "Good Sense" on it. It was a white shirt, and it, of course, swallowed me. I was much smaller back then when I was 4 than I am now. And I can remember eating, and then her saying quickly, "John, go hide behind the door. I want to surprise my husband." And so I did, and he came in the door. This is back before cell phones, of course, and he came in the door, and she said, "Honey, I've got a surprise for you." And he closed the door behind him and saw me. he got down on one knee and held his arms out to give me a hug. I can honestly say that that was the first time that a man had ever loved me in any normal way. So, all I can think about now that I'm older is this man and this woman didn't care that I was filthy. They didn't care that I had been beaten. They didn't care that I had been molested. They didn't care that I had been abused. They just wanted to love me. And I will never, never, ever forget that moment for as long as I live. The people that they had brought me to, I now call my mom and my dad. I now am a part of their family. They adopted me when I was 11 years old, but there was some time in there between, and this is where you guys come in. Those years before adoption were difficult, I can assure you, with people like you. I'm reminded of an individual that I got to meet a couple of months ago that stood in the gap for me, that took me to counseling, that took me to events that somehow or something that my parents, my foster parents couldn't do at the time, who stood in the gap. And I don't know if y'all know who Mr. Jerry Glover is, but I got to meet him 20 years down the road. And I came up to him. I said, man, I don't know if you remember who I am. He said, oh yeah, you're John. He knew my name. He cared enough. He knew my name. And I just sat there and Mr. Glover, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for putting up with a hyper little boy who was probably ugly, who was probably mean in some way, probably didn't want you around in some form or fashion. But I'm thankful that you stood in the gap for me and loved me despite every bit of that. And that is where you come in. You may not ever see what you do and the impact that you have on so many of the kids that you come in contact with. You may have no idea that they have been molested or have been beaten or have been abused or have felt no real love at all. The first instant of real love and care is found in how you love them. How you stand in the gap for them on hard days, on the good days, bad days. And I want you to know that you are potentially setting up someone to experience and to continue that love. Like Jerry Glover, DHR, my parents have instilled in me. To now have, to be one of the pastors at Golden Springs Baptist Church, to have a beautiful family that I pray that the Lord will, that nothing will ever happen to them in that manner that happened to me. It is because of people like you that I am here today. And so I pray, I plead on behalf of 300 plus children right here in Calhoun County, Alabama, to stay in the fight, stay the course, continue doing what is difficult and not easy sometimes. It is taking time out of your life, but you have no idea the impact that you may be causing and helping and stirring up in the ones that you love and care for. So, from me and on behalf of the many children that have come behind me and who have experienced the same things that I've experienced, I pray that you would stay the course. Keep bringing awareness to the ones who do not know what love is, who do not know what care is, who do not know what safety and protection is. Thank you. Thank thank you so much for allowing me to speak. Thank you to Council. Thank you to Ms. Miller. And I will turn that back over to her. Is it okay if I pray for you before you close? You know what? I'm going to pray. How about that? Let's pray. Father, the people that are before me, Father, I am thankful. I am thankful for them. And so, God, right now, I pray that you would stir in them the passion, continued passion to love these kids, love children who some are hard to love, like I was hard to love. But the ones that have stood in the gap for so many, God, who may never know or see what happens after they're out of their care. Father, I pray that they would trust you, God, in knowing that what they are doing is good. God, what they are doing is a calling. God, what they are doing is so desperately needed. God, give them strength on days where they don't have strength. Give them wisdom on days where they feel inadequate in some way. God, give them, God, patience. People like me. God, and I pray that you would continue to do a mighty work in their lives as they bring awareness. God, love kids. God, the ones that you've told us to protect and to care for. God, we love you, and I'm thankful again to be here tonight. It's for people like this who I'm here. God, we love you. Thank you. Praise you. That's all these things in your precious name.
My name is Teresa Simmons Ross. I'm the Executive Director of Evelyn Moon Children's Services. Tonight we gather in solemn unity. Our hearts are heavy with the weight of awareness. As we hold these candles with flames of hope, each flicker represents the light we bring to the darkness of child abuse. In this month dedicated to raising awareness, let us not only shine a light on the darkness of abuse, but also ignite a spark of hope that fuels our collective efforts for a better, safer day. Let us remember the innocent souls whose voices were silenced too soon, and honor them by renewing our commitment to protect and nurture every child, yours, mine, all. Child abuse is a tragedy that stains the fabric of our society, leaving scars that run deep and wounds that may never fully heal. May the light of these candles guide us in our mission to prevent child abuse, and may it inspire us to be vigilant guardians of the most vulnerable among us. In closing, let us always strive to create a world where every child feels safe, secure, protected, and loved.